six foes and weed smoke. Butterfly doors, mink coats, and clean clothes. Shit, that's all a nigga knows. Sliding, dipping on 84s, wrapped in foes. Cold, I'm too froze, so part in my rose gold. Bank rolls and city lights, living that life, so we going hard like every night. That's every night, stunting, flexing, I'm home.
What's good, amazing fam? I want to welcome y'all back to another episode of the It's So Amazing podcast. If this is your first time tuning in, you can catch us every week on your favorite podcasting app. And if you want to watch the video version of this podcast, you can catch it on my YouTube channel. That's Amazing Films, AMAYES, the letter N, Films. And that's where you can catch the video version of this podcast. I'm your host, Boss The Truth. And let's get straight to it, man. So, earlier this week, I did a news story on my YouTube channel about Meek Mill parting ways with Roc Nation. So I wanted to pose two questions with y'all. The first question is, do you think Roc Nation did anything to help or propel Meek Mill's career? So let's answer that question. Me personally, I think yes, Roc Nation had a lot to do with Meek Mill becoming the artist that he is today. But I also feel like him being in a high-profile relationship with Nicki Minaj also catapulted him into stardom. I won't say superstar because I don't feel like Meek Mill is a superstar, but I do feel like he is a star. When Meek Mill first signed with Rick Ross back in, 2010 maybe, 2009, 2010, I didn't really, it might have been even 2012, but I really didn't see Meek Mill being as big as he was today. I always feel like Meek Mill was going to be some kind of Friends-type rapper, have maybe one or two street local hits, maybe get one big one that everybody knows, and then just be known as a big spitter and stuff like that. That's the career that I've seen Meek Mill having, but he surpassed that, quadrupled that in every way, and kudos to Meek Mill for that. But I do feel like Roc Nation did help Meek Mill's career, especially after he had got locked up for doing wheelies in New York. And, you know, when Meek Mill was locked up for all those months and people was protesting, saying, free Meek, let's get Meek out and stuff like that. When he finally did come home, I feel like they had a big part in shaping and remolding Meek Mill's whole persona and image. And I feel like with the whole reform thing and just being locked up for doing a wheelie, a lot of people felt sympathy for Meek Mill, and it kind of humanized Meek Mill. And when I say humanize, everybody's probably thinking, well, he is a human. Why do you have to humanize people? I feel like you have to humanize people because the majority of people, when they looking up to these celebrities and stuff like that on social media, they idolizing these people, they don't really think they're human. I see a lot of comments from people saying a lot of stuff, like just talking down on these celebrities like they don't have everyday problems like you and me. And I feel like they feel like just because they celebrities, they got money, they get to go wherever they want, get to do whatever they want, they don't have actual problems just like we do. And that's just false. And I think that's one of the detriments we have when it comes to social media and idolizing these artists and celebrities, is that we forget the whole human factor when it comes to these people. They just regular people just like you and I, but they have a talent or they known for something and they get paid lots and lots of money to do said thing. Now, back to him and Roc Nation. I do feel like Roc Nation did catapult and make Meek Mill bigger. Just like I said at the beginning, I didn't think Meek Mill would be where he is today. Far as I know, and far as Meek lets everybody know, because he likes to let everybody know, Meek Mill is worth about $100 million. And when you think about that, you'll ask yourself, how the hell does Meek Mill have $100 million? He didn't make that from music, because he is a good selling artist, but his albums don't sell that well to make $100 million. So he make that other $100 million from brand deals, partnerships, and things like that, which came from Roc Nation putting him in front of people's eyes, in front of other companies and partnerships, partnering up together and doing big business like that. Now that Meek Mill is where he at today, I feel like they kind of parted ways, because once you reach a certain stature after being built up, there's nothing really any kind of company or manager can do for you. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why Meek Mill and Roc Nation are no longer partnered up together. Now, before I go on, let's get this straight. Even though Roc Nation is not managing Meek Mill anymore, he is still partners with Roc Nation. His Dream Chasers record label is still partnered up with Roc Nation for distribution. His whole reform initiative is tied in with Roc Nation to help people get out that's incarcerated and change their lives and change laws and stuff like that. So he's still in bed with Roc Nation, but as far as managing his career, that has no longer been at the table. So I feel like Meek Mill is at the point where a Roc Nation can't do anything for him. Plus, I don't know if y'all might look at it this way. If you look at him being friends with billionaires like Robert Kraft and what's the other guy that he always with, the basketball guy? He owns Lids. Michael Rubin, another billionaire. Like, I feel like they doing big business with him too, putting him in certain rooms. So it's like, what does he really need Roc Nation for to begin with? Now, do you think him parting ways with Roc Nation will hurt his career in any way? Me personally, I don't think anything can hurt Meek Mill's career at this point. The only thing that can hurt Meek Mill's career at this point is him doing something on his own volition and people judging him or looking at him a certain way for doing whatever he did. That's the only thing I think that can hurt Meek Mill at this juncture in his career. Now, should Meek get with another management company or let some other high-profile manager manage his career? Me personally, I don't think so. I think he could have somebody manage him, but not at the capacity as a Roc Nation or another big wig company that professionalized in management. Like, Meek Mill's career is what Meek Mill's career is. I don't really see him getting any bigger than what he is now. I feel like he's kind of stagnated at the point to where he's at, and only thing he could do is continue to put out music if he wants to, which he hasn't put out music in a while. He is having trouble with Rick Ross and Atlantic with his record label, so he's having kind of disputes back and forth with them. So that's why we haven't heard any new music for him. So I don't really think the management company could help Meek Mill with that, which at the same time they could, because that's what Roc Nation is known for, meddling with other people's contracts. They did it with Uzi, with Generation Now, with DJ Drama. They did it with Megan Thee Stallion, trying to take her away from Carl Crawford with 1501 Entertainment. So they was specializing in stealing artists from other people, trying to get them out their contracts. So maybe the management company could help him renegotiate or get out his deal with Rick Ross and Atlantic. But at the same time, I feel like he can hire high-profile lawyers to specialize with that kind of stuff like that and get him out on that own volition. Speaking of getting people out, let's talk about Kodak Black. So earlier this week, or maybe at the end of last week, Kodak Black was arrested in Florida. He was found to have oxycodone pills on him and $50,000 in cash, or maybe $70,000 in cash. I can't remember. I did a story about this on my YouTube channel. You can check it out if you want to. But this is sad, bruh. Well, I won't even say sad. This is unfortunate. I put out a tweet maybe, I want to say a year ago. I still got it. I looked it up actually after this news broke, and I had tweeted my boy JT, and I was saying, like, if Kodak Black doesn't take this second chance, it's not even second chance. If he doesn't take this chance that Trump gave him seriously, like, it's really over for him. Like, this is a guy that keeps getting into trouble time after time after time. And it's like he just doesn't learn from his mistakes. And after a certain point of time, you can't really feel sorry for these people. You can't feel sorry for these artists because they keep putting themselves in these situations time and time again. And it's like, when are they gonna mature and learn from their mistakes or learn from other people's mistakes and actually do better? Now, I know Kodak is a project baby. I know. That's not an excuse. I hate the term of I'm a product of my environment. That's total bullshit. Just because you grew up somewhere or was surrounded by a lot of shit doesn't mean you have to partake or conform to that environment. That's bullshit. You could be the bigger man, be the smarter man, and do better than everybody else that came before you. Like, you have to do better. You have to set an example and show people that, hey, this guy came from where I'm from, but he didn't do what everybody else did. He took his own path and did what he wanted to do, and he did it better, and he stayed out of prison, he stayed out of jail. But when it comes to Kodak Black, I feel like he loves being in prison. He loves being in jail. Or I ain't gonna say that. Well, I can't say that on the outside looking in, but at the same time, maybe he just can't get right. You know what I'm saying? Like the nigga off life. Like, he just can't get right. And at a certain point of time, it's just like, enough is enough. Now, his lawyer is saying or petitioning to say that he had those oxycodone pills because, if you remember a while back, a couple months back, I think it was during the Super Bowl, Kodak Black got shot. So they said he has those pills to have for pain management. Now, do I think Kodak Black has those pills for pain management? Me personally, no, I do not feel like Kodak Black has those pills for pain management. Is this a convenient excuse for Kodak Black to say that's why he has those pills? Yes. Do I think this will work for Kodak Black? It's a 50-50 chance they might believe this shit, but at the same time, if they don't believe this, it's not going to be a good look for Kodak Black. I did read a headline yesterday saying that he is on house arrest for violating his release or probation or whatever it is because of this arrest. Now, I seen him post a tweet or maybe a Instagram saying that he was going to take the wrap off of his car. And if you don't know what a wrap is, all it is like a 3M texture that you can put on your car that's kind of less expensive than getting your car repainted a whole nother color. You can kind of put a lot of different wraps on your cars to make it different colors, different textures, and things like that. A lot of famous people do it. A lot of regular people do it. But he feel like that was one of the reasons why he was targeted and followed in the first place. I do agree with that. I feel like the whole Young Dolph situation and murder, I feel like if people didn't know, because like if you don't know, Young Dolph down there, all his cars are wrapped in that army fatigue wrap. So anytime somebody see that, they be like, oh, that's Young Dolph. You kind of got the drop on an artist if you know that they specialize in, oh, all their cars wrap like this, all their cars look like this, instead of just having a regular normal car or normal color that people can't discern and be like, oh, I don't know who that is. Like, I do feel like that is a detriment to people, but at the same time, Kodak, I'm not going to let you use that excuse of that's why they was following you because of a wrap of a car. Even so, you need to move smarter. If you're using these pills to make the pain feel better, okay, I salute you. But at the same time, knowing your background, knowing where you come from, knowing how you move, I just feel like this is an excuse. This excuse might work because you do have a top dollar lawyer to help you get out on this. And I just feel like if he does help you get out, you just never gonna learn. I feel like there's nothing that's really gonna hammer it home for Kodak to be like, okay, bruh, this is where I used to be. This is who I used to be, but I want to make a change for the better. And it's just like some people just don't learn from their mistakes. You can't really change them. And that's what you should do. Like, you should just really believe people when they show you who they really are. They can't change sometimes. They are who they are. And it is what it is, bro. Like, I can't feel sorry for Kodak Black anymore. I do fuck with Kodak Black. I love his music, but at the same time, if he's gonna keep continuing to put himself in these predicaments, and it's just like, bruh, what can you do? Now, speaking of what can you do, let's talk about the comedian, the actress, Monique. So, I've done a few videos and podcasts about Monique, and basically those videos or podcasts was specifically talking about the problems that she had with Netflix. So if you didn't know, Monique had sued Netflix maybe 2 or 3 years ago for racial bias and discrimination and stuff like that. She was pretty much saying that Netflix was being biased and discriminating against her because Netflix paid Dave Chappelle 40, 60 million, paid Kevin Hart 40, 60 million, Chris Rock 40, 60 million, Amy Schumer 20, 30 million, stuff like that. And basically what it came down to, when it was time to offer her a deal for her special, they quote unquote lowballed her and gave her, I think, a $500,000 offer. Now, when you hear all those numbers that I threw out and then hear the number that I just presented for Monique, you might agree with Monique in saying that they did lowball her when it comes to a comedian special. But at the same time, I feel like all those artists that I named had resumes of today, not what they did back in the day, but what they still doing to this day. They going out selling out these clubs and these venues and these stadiums and things like that. So when they come to a Netflix or Amazon or whoever, HBO, and present, hey, I want to do a special, or I'm finna do a special, would you like to partner up with me? They have the leverage when it comes to that, and that's why they getting these big ass paydays. But I feel like Monique was in a situation where, first, she felt disrespected. Two, I felt like she was pocket watching. But that's neither here nor there. She sued Netflix a couple weeks ago. News came out that they settled that suit. We don't know the ins and outs of the settlement. We don't know who agreed to what. And that's where the problem lies with me, because I really wish we knew the actual terms of the agreement so we'll know who was in the wrong, who was in the right. Now, news broke this week that Monique has a special coming with Netflix. Now, when you hear that, a lot of people say, yes, sis, keep fighting that good fight. You stood on business, you stood on what you stood on, and you won. They feel like Monique won by getting a special from Netflix. Now, do you feel like do you feel like Monique won because now she has a special with Netflix? Me personally, I feel like no, she didn't win, because she could have still had a special then and took that $500,000 offer, did what she did, and built upon that. Dave Chappelle done did 4 or 5 specials with Netflix already. He keeps getting the bag from them. Now, me personally, now seeing that she has a deal with Netflix, maybe that was a part of the settlement. Hey, we not going to give you no money. We have the right to pay whoever we want to pay, what we want to pay them. But we will give you a special, and if it does, whatever it does, maybe we can revisit this and go on from there. That's what I feel like they did. I don't know. I'm just guessing. I'm just looking from the outside looking in, but I will say this. Whenever this special does come out, this better be one of the best comedian specials that came out, or Monique is gonna lose people, because you did this whole suing Netflix because of racial bias, discrimination, and stuff like that. But if you put this special out, it's not funny, people are not fucking with it, people are not talking with it, then us regular Joe Schmo people are gonna look at it and be like, aha, Netflix had every right to offer what they offered you, and I see why they offered you what they offered you. And something that a lot of people is not talking about when that whole fiasco went on a couple years ago. Monique had already had a special on Netflix. It wasn't with Netflix. It was through her own company that she shot with somebody else, but it was on the streaming platform. So you have to think that in today's age, in 2022, everything when it comes to basketball, football, whatever it is, everything has to do with analytics. When it comes to this podcast, it has to do with analytics. When I look at the views or the listenership duration, you're telling me that you fuck with this podcast or you don't fuck with this podcast. So, like I said, she already had a special on Netflix. They have the data to back up why they offer her that $500,000 offer to begin with and didn't offer her a bigger offer. So, this special better be the bee's knees, the end all be all, one of the best comedian specials ever, or people are going to look at Monique a different way. But at the same time, if they did give her the bag, it is a win-win for Monique. Now, do y'all think I owe Monique an apology now that she does have a deal with Netflix? I'm not going to apologize. Could I be wrong about the whole situation? Yes. But at the same time, my opinion is my opinion. If they really came out and told us what the settlement was, then I would have a more feeling to apologize if I was wrong and in the wrong. But since we don't know the information, I still feel like this is a case of when pocket watching goes wrong. But she did end up getting her deal at the end, so it's a win-win for everybody. Now, before we get out of here, I want to ask y'all the question of the week. And the question that I have for the week is, do people listen to music to enjoy it, or do they listen to music to critique it? Now, the reason I want to ask this question is because I feel like today, when a lot of these artists are putting out these albums or putting out songs, and I'm seeing these numbers come back, it's not making sense to me. And I know people is listening to music, so why are these numbers coming back the way they're coming back? Is it do they need to come up with a whole nother formulas to make it actually feel like people is really actually caring about this music? Or is music become such a, I don't want to say party trick, like let's huddle around a campfire and talk about this? Has music become a event now? So what I mean by that, has music become when somebody drops a new album at midnight on Friday, everybody listens to it and gets on Twitter and see what everybody else is talking about, and do they form their opinion that way? Or is people actually listening to the music to enjoy it and coming to their own conclusion on how they feel about said music? Me personally, I feel like a lot of people is running with narratives. They running with the pack, running with the herd, and they are listening to the music, or before they even listen to the music, they seeing what people are saying on Twitter. Then they finally listen to the music, and they letting what people are saying dilute and mess up their own opinion on how they feel about said music. I don't like it. I wish it stopped. I wish people actually listen to the music how the artist intended on you to listen to the music and form your own opinion on how you feel about the music. I wish people stop being sheep, stop being heard, and stop just going a part of the group think. I don't like that shit. I feel like that's going to be a detriment. When people look back 20, 30 years about this whole social media area and how people was moving, people are going to do a lot of studies on this shit. And I won't be surprised if social media don't even exist later on when people see the actual impact that it done had on the human race. But I want to thank y'all for tuning in for another week of the It's So Amazing podcast. I really appreciate y'all for tuning in. Like I said at the beginning of the show, if it's your first time tuning in, you can catch us every week on your favorite podcasting app. And if you want to catch the video version of this podcast, you can catch us on my YouTube channel. That's Amazing Films, AMAYESN Films. And that's where you can catch the video version of the podcast. I also told y'all a couple weeks ago that I do have a Patreon, and on the Patreon, you'll be getting the podcast early. You'll also be getting videos of me producing music. You'll be also getting music from me personally as an artist. You'll also be getting videos of me doing commentary on hip hop and things of that nature and what's going on in today's age, and just my thoughts on whatever's going on, or just thoughts that I have that I want to discuss with y'all. So that's what'll be on my Patreon. Like I said, if you go on patreon.com and search Amazing Films, it doesn't come up. I don't know why. It used to. It doesn't anymore, baby, because I don't have any Patreons. But if you're interested in being a patron, you can get the link in this episode in the bio of whatever podcasting app you listen to, and you can get the link for the Patreon in any YouTube video that I done posted up in the last 2 months. It's in the bio of whatever video you're watching. Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all for tuning in for another episode of the It's So Amazing podcast. I'll catch y'all next week for some more fuckery, and we out this thing. Peace out. I appreciate y'all. I don't take it for granted. Holla at your boy.